So we'll be going over IRS notice CP102. This is the tax notice that the IRS may send you if you've submitted IRS form 941 and there is a miscalculation. So IRS form 941 is the employer's quarterly unemployment return. And if you file this form and there's a mistake, or if the IRS assesses a difference between what you reported and what has been reported to them, then they will issue this notice. So we're going to start with the top of the notice, and then we're going to work our way down so we can break this down and fully understand everything that it means. Let's go ahead and start with the top right-hand corner. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the notice number, CP102. The tax period is for the period that ended December 31st, 2016. The notice date is February 9th, 2017. The employer identification number and a contact phone number for the IRS are listed here. The company's name and address are listed over here to the left. And I'm going to take a moment to point out two things that I always do in these videos. So the first thing is you should take note of the notice date anytime you see it, because there may be an action item or a due item that you're supposed to perform that is tied to the notice date. For example, your notice may say something like, please respond within 30 days. Please provide supporting documentation within 60 days of the notice. It all depends on where you are in the, if you're in the collections process, where you may be in the collections process. So pay attention to that, because you may have something that you need to do and it may be tied to the notice date. The second thing that I'll point out is that if you've recently changed your address, you should take a look at whether or not you need to file IRS form 8822, which is the IRS change of address form. Or in this case, IRS form 8822B is the change of address form for a corporation or a business. And the reason you may do that, if you've relocated right before you filed your tax return, you probably don't need to do that, because filing your tax return with a different address will prompt the Internal Revenue Service to update your tax record with the new information. However, if you've recently filed your tax return with your old address, then you may want to go ahead and file IRS Form 8822 or Form 8822-B so that you are able to receive correspondence. Again, the IRS's default position, if you don't respond to a notice, is that you agree with their assessment and that they're going to continue down the path of whatever that may be. So in this case, it looks like the taxpayer owes about $6,700. So the IRS would simply start the collections process and go down that path, which you may not want to do if you either want to pay that bill, or if you have some information that you think refutes their statement. So let's take a closer look at how they broke this down. To the left-hand side, the IRS says that your tax deposits don't reflect what you reported. So basically, they went ahead and made changes to your tax return to update what they perceived to be an error, and they came up with this tax due amount. The breakdown is $4,913 of actual tax. There's a failure to file penalty. So apparently this wasn't even filed, and that's $1,105. A failure to pay penalty, and an additional $130-ish. Failure to make a proper federal tax deposit penalty, and then interest on everything stated above. So the IRS makes it very clear what they believe you need to do. So you can review the notice and compare the changes to the information that you have on your tax return. You must pay the unpaid tax here. It looks like within 10 days of the notice date, and then the full balance by March 2nd, 2017, to avoid additional interest charges or additional penalties. So if you pay this by March 2nd, then you won't accrue any more penalties or interest. And then there's a voucher at the bottom of page 1 that indicates this is how much you have to pay, and it gives you instructions on how to make your check or money order payable to the United States Treasury. You would write this information on the check: your employer ID number, the tax period covered, and the form number. So again, more information under the pay immediately option. So you can pay electronically. You can call the 800 number to discuss payment options. It also says that we have received notification that a petition in bankruptcy has been filed by or against you. So any tax that you incurred before the date of the petition should not be paid. They may file a proof of claim in the bankruptcy proceedings. If the tax or any portion of it was incurred after filing bankruptcy, then you should pay that balance in full. And then if you think there's a mistake, you can call the IRS. You can discuss your payment information, and you should have your records and a copy of your previously filed tax return available so that you can go over it with the representative. So again, if you don't pay that unpaid tax, they're going to keep accruing penalties and interest. That includes an additional 5% failure to deposit penalty. If you've changed your address, you can call the phone number, you can submit this statement, or you can submit IRS Form 8822 or 8822B. Below is a breakdown of the changes based on your calculations. This shows taxable Social Security wages, total Medicare wages and tips, total taxes before any adjustments. Then this shows all the adjustments, total taxes after adjustments. Since this is an example from the IRS website, I'm going to assume that these omissions or these math errors are intentional. But basically, you should see the breakdown of the calculations, the adjustments, and then the IRS shows no records, deposits, or credits for this account. So if you have proof otherwise, this is where you would have that conversation. There's further information on how the IRS assesses the 5% monthly penalty for the failure to file. So the penalty rate, basically this is, so 5 months late, they can do this for up to 5 months. And then there's a failure to make a proper tax deposit. So this is a rate, 10% rate of these taxes that were due in May, June, and July of 2016. There's a failure to pay assessment. And then you can discuss your options on whether or not the IRS has any flexibility of being able to remove or reduce your penalties, either due to economic hardship or some sort of extenuating circumstances. You can have them removed if you depended on the IRS for advice and they gave you written advice that turned out to be inaccurate. You can request abatement through IRS Form 843. There's a breakdown of how the IRS calculates interest. And then there's additional information and resources on this notice. So a quick note about interest. Generally speaking, if the IRS is able to abate penalties or the taxes based on a conversation or verification that you did pay in full, then the IRS should be able to reduce the interest on the payments or the penalties that you no longer owe. So otherwise, interest keeps accruing on outstanding accounts until you've paid everything in full. Let's take a quick look at what the IRS webpage has to say about this notice. Understanding your CP102 notice. It basically says the same thing that we outlined in the notice itself. There's some frequently asked questions, tips for the next time you file. Filing electronically could help you avoid mistakes and save time. A discussion of penalties and interest and how they work. So again, if you don't agree with the IRS, you have at least on this notice 10 days to contact them to see if you can, dispute some of the taxes or some of the penalties that were assessed. So we'll put links in the show notes to the forms and articles that we've created on the forms discussed in this video. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or comments, or if there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.